Have you ever heard of a heist so audacious, so meticulously planned, that it feels like it's straight out of a Hollywood movie? We're not talking about Ocean's 11. We're talking about a real-life crime that rocked London to its core, carried out by a crew whose average age was over 60. This is the story of the Hatton Garden Heist, the biggest burglary in English legal history. It all went down over the Easter weekend in April 2015 in London's famous jewelry district, Hatton Garden. The target, the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company. A fortress-like building where jewelers and dealers stored their most valuable goods for decades. It was considered impenetrable, but a group of seasoned criminals, dubbed the Bad Grandpas by the media, saw it as the ultimate challenge. Who were these men? They weren't your typical tech-savvy cybercriminals. The ringleader was Brian Reader, then 76 years old. He was a notorious figure in the London underworld. With a long history of high-profile robberies, he assembled a team of old-school villains: Terry Perkins, 67, Danny Jones, 60, and Kenny Collins, 75, who acted as the lookout. They were men from a bygone era of crime, relying on old-fashioned grit and know-how rather than digital tricks. Their plan was simple in concept, but incredibly difficult in execution. They would get into the building, disable the alarms, and drill through the 20-inch thick reinforced concrete wall of the vault. It was a plan that required patience, precision, and a whole lot of nerve. The heist began on the evening of Thursday, April 2nd. Using a key to a fire escape, they gained access to the building after all the staff had left for the long holiday weekend. Once inside, they descended to the basement in the elevator shaft. This is where their biggest obstacle stood: the massive reinforced concrete wall of the vault, using a heavy-duty industrial drill, a Hilti DD350. To be exact, they began their work. The noise must have been immense, but the building was empty, and the streets were quiet for the holiday. They drilled for hours, creating a series of overlapping holes to form an opening. It was painstaking, exhausting work. Imagine the scene: these elderly men, working in the dark, dust filling the air, methodically breaking through a wall that was designed to stop exactly this kind of attack. But they hit a snag. The hole they had created was blocked by the back of the metal cabinet that housed the safe deposit boxes. Their tools weren't enough to dislodge it. After hours of fruitless effort, they were forced to retreat. The first night was a failure. Most crews would have given up, cut their losses, and disappeared. But not this one. They regrouped, and on Saturday night, they returned. This time, they came prepared with different equipment. Danny Jones, the expert of the group, managed to force the cabinet away from the wall. And just like that, they were in. The vault, containing millions of pounds worth of jewels, cash, and gold, was wide open. Over the next few hours, they ransacked 73 safe deposit boxes. They worked methodically, prying open box after box, stuffing their bags with a king's ransom. It was the culmination of years of planning and a lifetime of criminal experience. When they were done, they simply walked out the way they came, disappearing into the London night with an estimated £14 million, although some say the true value could be as high as £200 million. When the staff returned to work on Tuesday morning, they were met with a scene of utter devastation. The vault was a wreck, the floor littered with discarded tools and empty deposit boxes. A massive, gaping hole in the wall told the story. The police were baffled. How could a group of criminals bypass state-of-the-art security systems and drill through a concrete wall without anyone noticing? The media went into a frenzy. The press dubbed the culprits the Diamond Weasels and the Bad Grandpas, and the public was captivated by the sheer audacity of the crime. It felt like something from a classic British crime film. But for the Metropolitan Police, the pressure was on. This was a huge embarrassment, and they needed to find the culprits, fast. The investigation, codenamed Operation Firmament, began. Initially, the police had very few leads. The gang had been careful, disabling CCTV cameras inside the building. But they made mistakes. The most crucial one: they underestimated the vast network of cameras covering every inch of London. Police began the painstaking process of tracking their movements through thousands of hours of footage. They spotted a suspicious white van that had been parked near Hatton Garden over the weekend. They traced its movements and identified its owner, Kenny Collins, the 75-year-old lookout. From there, the whole conspiracy began to unravel. Police put the suspects under surveillance, listening to their conversations and gathering evidence. The old-timers couldn't resist bragging. In a pub, Terry Perkins was recorded boasting about the heist, describing the drilling in detail. They talked about how to melt down the gold and sell the diamonds. Their overconfidence was their downfall. The police had everything they needed. Just over a month after the heist, police raids were carried out across London and Kent. They arrested the key members of the gang. In their homes, they found stashes of jewelry, cash, and books on forensics and diamond valuation. Danny Jones had even buried his share of the loot under a memorial stone in a cemetery. In 2016, the main players were found guilty and sentenced to lengthy prison terms. Brian Reeder, Terry Perkins, Danny Jones, and Kenny Collins, the so-called masterminds, all ended up behind bars. It was a dramatic end to their long criminal careers. Interestingly, a mysterious figure known only as Basil, who was instrumental in disabling the alarms, managed to evade capture for years before finally being caught and sentenced in 2019. The Hatton Garden Heist remains a fascinating story of ambition, old-school criminal tactics, and ultimately, failure. These men almost pulled off the perfect crime, a final, legendary score to end their careers, but in the modern world, their analog methods were no match for digital surveillance. It's a reminder that even the most elaborate plans can be undone by a single, simple mistake. What do you think? Was this a masterful plan by criminal geniuses or a reckless gamble by men who should have known better? Please give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more incredible true crime stories. We'll see you in the next one.